This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Simon, I'm a real YouTube.
I've met the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I've never seen her before.
I've been crying all day. My heart's like beating. Don't use my toothbrush.
Every day that we've spent together has been a blessing to me.
I got a neuroscience girl, yeah, I call her the brain. Her body's looking right, but her head is insane.
I've been sick this week, so that's been great. To celebrate, I had no choice but to binge Netflix's new marriage game show, Love is Blind. Love is Blind, not to be confused with A Blind Man's Love, is a show where people get engaged for marriage to someone they have never seen.
If I fall in love and get engaged, it will be with someone I've never seen. It's crazy.
Which could be cool, you know, let people meet each other without seeing each other and let them date, and then after that, I don't know, follow them while they're dating normally and document the experience. Nope, they've got to get engaged in 10 days or less, so that's insane. The show has gotten a lot of comparisons to The Bachelor, which for those unfamiliar is a show where 30 women compete for Instagram followers and one unlucky lady has to get engaged. Usually this time of year, I would talk about The Bachelor, which is just wrapping up right now, but this season is bad and not fun to watch, so I'm just gonna cut my losses and talk about this. The Bachelor, for contrast, films over 10 weeks leading to an engagement, to which Love is Blind was like, hold my metallic wine glass, we'll do it in 10 days. Love is Blind is the top show on Netflix right now, and I mean, why wouldn't it be? It features people falling in love, people processing difficult issues that plague all of our relationships.
Don't use my toothbrush.
That would really bother you?
And last but not least, people proposing to a pulsating blue wall.
Will you marry me?
It's just a blue wall.
Can you see anything?
The show is hosted by, is that Nick Lachey?
I'm obviously Nick Lachey.
Okay, I guess the show is hosted by Nick Lachey and his wife Vanessa Lachey, but that's easy to forget because they're on screen for like 3 minutes total throughout the entire series.
I'm obviously Nick Lachey.
What do you mean, obviously, Nick? You were in a boy band in 1998. Is that why they were called 98 Degrees? Your other claim to fame is a TV show that you had with a different wife. So these are clearly our marriage experts. Also, our marriage gurus regularly refer to the show as The Experiment.
This literally is the first time an experiment like this has ever been done.
In fact, the show bends over backwards to mention that these couples are getting engaged without ever seeing each other a lot.
Will you say I do to the person that you've chosen right here, sight unseen?
So, couple things. I guess the experiment is supposed to test whether love is blind, but like actual blind people and arranged marriages exist, so like, yeah, obviously. And even if love is blind, you're also rushing the process. The show isn't called Love is Swift. The host makes some pretty big claims about the experiment despite the fact that, I don't know, they aren't scientists.
We all have to remember this central question. Is love truly blind?
This isn't a scientific experiment. There's no control group. There's no group of people getting engaged after dating each other in pods where they can actually see each other. What are your independent variables? What are your dependent variables, Nick Lachey? If your hypothesis is that love is blind, that's fine. But it's backed up by no cited information in the show itself. They just say random shit with total authority and don't back it up at all. This wouldn't stand up to peer review. The scientific method is quaking. This show feels like if somebody read the title of an article about attraction and then stopped there. So my understanding of the show is that 30 assorted guys and girls are separated and forced to live in a big hotel room. Well, they call it a living quarters like they're at war. And they spend their days going on blind dates in a room called The Pod, which they try to make a normal term throughout the entirety of the show, and it never works.
The pods are now open.
Makes me laugh every time. Once everyone is all settled in, our esteemed marriage scientists kick off the show with a holier-than-thou monologue about what's wrong with today's society and how it focuses too much on physical appearance, which are big words for two people who have lifelong careers in television, and a show that features its most conventionally attractive people.
I'm short, and there are women out there that won't date guys that are shorter.
Poor Wesley. Before we get into the contestants that actually get screen time, I wanted to throw up a little spoiler alert because obviously. Also, I know I'm roasting these people for their actions on the show, but it's all in good fun. I think everyone sees this as a big growth opportunity, and I had a lot of fun watching the show, and you would too. With that out of the way, on to the people that applied to be on the show on purpose. First off, we have Cameron, a data scientist working in artificial intelligence who does a really bad job of convincing me that he's not a robot AI himself.
Yeah, basically taking over the world.
He was born inside of the pod and it's all he's ever known.
I always hear, you don't look like a scientist.
Yeah, you do. He gets together with Lauren, the most well-adjusted person on the show, and also the only person who could pull off giant hoop earrings with her last name on them. Together, they become the couple the audience is rooting for most after getting engaged halfway through the first episode.
Will you marry me?
They are perfect together and have absolutely no problems until we find out that Cameron was in a rap group in college and shows off his rapping skills for Lauren's mom, which prompts her to kick him out. Just kidding, she loves it.
I'm feeling like a kid with you. You're my main chick, those other girls are previews.
What can I say? He spits hot fire as his programmers intended. The show is notable for addressing a lot of topics that are usually absent from reality TV or television in general for that matter. A great example of this is how they handle interracial dating with Lauren and Cameron. Their handling of this is mostly good, minus Cameron's rapping, which someone should have stopped him.
I drive like NASCAR, bitch. I see faces you don't die.
A character who invites a more nuanced discussion, though, is CARLTON, a 34-year-old social media marketer who essentially comes out as bisexual on the show in a moment of vulnerability that I find quite brave, to be honest.
At one point in my young adult life, I found myself attracted to just hearts, period.
Where it gets complicated, though, is CARLTON's on-screen persona oscillates between sensitive soft boy who just wants to be accepted for who he is.
Now, I'm ready to focus on what matters. It's more about what's on the inside. If that heart is beautiful, if your soul speaks to my soul.
And Mr. Misogyny.
You make daddy feel good.
Also, he wears a hat that says daddy and makes me uncomfortable.
I'm gonna get you one that says, do not touch.
The problem with our relationship is that I want to get my wife a hat that says Carlton's bitch. We've also got Amber, who's a real pretty girl and just one of the guys, y'all.
A lot of people don't take me seriously because I ain't ugly.
She's an ex-tank mechanic and often reminds us that she can cause us physical harm.
I would break her face.
Then there's Kelly and Kenny, who feature prominently in the show, but not in this video because they're kind of boring. Next up is Giannina, whose full name is
Giannina Milady.
Milady. She gets with Damien, who doesn't have a personality? Anyway, they have the world's wackiest proposal.
When you open the box, what do you see?
Empty.
Besides my brother and my family. You have now become the most important thing in my life, and I cannot put you in that box. So I took the bow off the box, and I put the bow on my right hand, because today I don't just give you a piece of me, I give you all of me. I am your gift.
I am your gift! And their relationship continues to be just as weird and intense. Wrapping things up here, there's Barnett, the southern engineer slash frat boy type who causes drama between Jessica and Amber because he just can't make up his mind.
It's like whoever I saw last is my number one.
Last but not least, the show notably doesn't have any villains, but it does have Mess. And Mess, thy name is Jessica.
Mark is very emotionally available. To me, it's a bit of a red flag.
Jessica is like if a spilled wine glass were a person. She loves wine. She's 34 and works in tech or something, and balances a flirty baby voice with a much deeper one.
You literally said that last night.
She's the source of most of the show's drama due to her rocky relationship with Mark, who is a normal and totally fine 24-year-old man. I forgot to mention him up to this point because his entire presence on the show is like in reference to Jessica and how poorly she treats him. I feel bad for him. So at the start of the show, everyone is just dating in the pods and drinking all day, every day. I think they're allowed to choose who they date, but I'm not sure because the rules of the game are loose at best and barely communicated to the audience. And then they're off to the races because somehow, even in a show that expedites marriage, Cameron and Lauren come in with a blazing fast engagement speed of 3 days.
I don't need to do any more searching. I'm ready to propose to Lauren.
We're still in the first episode, man. Come on. Barnett is balancing Jessica and Amber and another girl named LC, who all think they have unique connections with this basic man they've known for like 45 minutes. Jessica is also dating Mark and is kind of into him, kinda. But then Jessica says that Barnett said that he would marry her, and she drops Mark like a load of bricks. that's 5'8". Mark doesn't take it well, obviously.
What the fuck?
And Jessica doesn't help because she is not empathetic to his feelings. But don't worry, because she's a hypocrite. The next morning, Jessica tries to confirm with Barnett if he really wanted to get married to her.
Is it true that you still feel the same way you felt last night?
And when he's not sure,
I don't know.
she flips the fuck out. By the way, it's day 4.
I don't fuck with people like you.
Jessica can't believe that Barnett would say that he wanted to marry her and then take it back the next day. Like, who would do that?
Like, I can definitely see us walking out of here together.
But here's the thing. That's not what he said.
If this place had nobody, no other guys, and no other girls, like, I would propose to you tomorrow.
If there were no other guys and no other girls, then I would marry you tomorrow. What he's basically saying is if you were the last person on earth, I'd consider it. And Jessica is like, you fucking monster.
I'm fucking over this.
But don't worry, because this toxic behavior is a trend. Disappointed with the Barnett situation, she returns to Mark to claim her consolation prize. His love. His love is her consolation prize.
I really hope that I didn't mess it up with Mark.
Why? That's so poor Mark. It's also worth noting that Jessica keeps bringing up age difference as an issue between her and Mark.
You're 10 years younger than I am.
But Barnett is 3 years older than Mark. Like, Jessica is still, there's still a 7-year age difference. Meanwhile, Carlton proposes to Diamond, a former dancer for the Atlanta Hawks. The show calls her a basketball dancer, which is just a weird phrase to me, so I wanted to show Diamond some respect.
You make me feel like I won't have to hide.
See, he says that, but he's hiding a giant secret.
I have a big secret.
I'm not here to rush you to share your identity with your partner, but I am here to say, maybe hold off on engagement until you've had that conversation, right? That's not, you know, you don't owe that to anyone unless you're married. I also have to mention that whenever someone's gonna propose, they shoot this weird B-roll shot in the hallway that's in like slow motion and super desaturated. And it looks insane. Anyway, after much deliberation, Barnett chooses Amber, and there's another eerie proposal montage. And there you have it. All our major couples are engaged. Also, congrats to Kelly and Kenny for getting engaged. I'm sorry you're so boring. Once a couple decides that they want to get engaged, which to my understanding is the only way to escape the pods, to visit the outside, they get to see each other in person for the first time, and it's very cute. Some notables include perfect couple Lauren and her robot fiance Cambot 3000, and Amber, who has a funny walk. And all the engaged couples are shipped to Mexico to explore not being separated by a wall, or as marriage scientist Nick LACHEY puts it, the physical realities of the material world.
The physical realities of the material.
Here, the couples get down to brass tacks and start planning their weddings in the case of Cameron and Lauren, or in the case of Carlton and Diamond, where relationships crash and burn.
You better be happy you're pretty.
Is he negging her? No, not the daddy hat. So their breakup is actually really tragic and touching, but what took me out of it was that when Carlton and Diamond exit the show, they play a sad montage, but it's just of clips from the past week. We were so young. After a few days in paradise, or hours or seconds, it's really hard to tell with the show, they surprise the couples with a mini reunion / cocktail party where it's clear that Jessica is not over Barnett and doesn't like her fiance Mark at all.
I might not be as excited as they were.
Also, the guys and girls start talking about who's had sex and who hasn't, and in what may be his only interesting moment in the entire show, Kenny lies to the boys.
I don't kiss and tell.
I didn't tell and kiss.
I did not and could not go for a run this morning. That's all I'm gonna say.
We've made out, but like, that's it.
Can I just point something out? Why in that clip is Damien just like,
See? There it is. I do declare.
I do declare. Oh, and have I mentioned that Jessica's not over Barnett?
To have feelings for someone so strongly that you want to tell them you'll marry them, and within 12 hours to retract it.
Yeah, Jessica, who would do that? Honestly, Jessica could be on both sides of this argument.
Obviously, like since day one, I've been like, Mark. I think Barnett is someone I could spend the rest of my life with.
So there's a lot of drinking in this show, and in a lot of these reality shows, but Jessica drinks the most.
Oh, I needed that.
And she seems aware of it in the reunion episode, but she's so mean to Mark. Like, she will pick a fight with him over absolutely nothing.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Speaking of weird arguments, Gianita and Damien, they're still in the show, have them regularly.
I don't understand. Nice, it's an escape.
What do you need to escape from?
Work and
drama or anything else.
What do you mean drama? You sound really worried.
What do you mean a vacation is an escape? What are you escaping from, Damien? Anyway, Jessica continues to be hung up on Barnett for the entirety of the show. If Jessica and Barnett are in the same room, she will find him and talk to him.
I adore him. We are bonded for life.
She's talking about Barnett, and no one can figure out what's wrong with Mark.
I know she's dated taller guys before, and Mark is shorter. I don't know. I really don't know what is throwing her off.
The only problem with Mark is that Jessica doesn't like him and will not do him the favor of sharing that information.
We're struggling for sure. I'm physically attracted to Barnett.
And Barnett. He is not interested at all. After vacation, Nick and Vanessa LACHEY force the couples to move into an apartment complex together, and they make a bunch of huge claims about relationships.
And if you make it through these tests, I promise your marriage is gonna move forward on extremely solid ground.
How are you so confident? Is this an experiment or not? What's that? I can't see you. Just kidding. I was covering my eyes as a joke because love may be blind, but what isn't blind is my love for Squarespace. Nice. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence without knowing how to code. How do I know? I've got a giant computer science degree, and that means I know stuff. I've been a very happy user of Squarespace for the past few years, and you can be too. Just check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, head on over to squarespace.com/JarvisJohnson, that's my name, for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to get back to Love is Blind. We find out that Amber has bad credit, and it's definitely because of her credit card that she uses for makeup, and definitely not her outstanding student loans that she doesn't make payments on.
I have an average credit score because I've only got one credit card. It's my makeup credit card. And then there's my student debt.
I pay the minimum at least, or no?
No.
Mark, who at this point is a 5-time gold medalist in the Emotional Labor Olympics, has not given up on Jessica. You see, the main conflict in their relationship is that Jessica liked Mark before she saw him in person.
There's just not a wall between us anymore.
So he plans this absurd date where they eat dinner in different rooms, and it's weird. Strangely, this also happens with Giannina and Damien, who have an argument in different rooms and make more progress in their relationship than they had previously. But this doesn't help in Mark's case because Jessica continues to pick fights with him over absolutely nothing.
Okay, so let's play this out. We have a kid, and I'm like 36.
They look good.
You're 26. Play it out further.
Cool, okay.
The kid turns 24.
It doesn't scare me. Like,
I'm
looking at, like, look me in the eye.
The year's 2040, and 2 trains are approaching each
How
other.
do you feel
One from
about that?
Chicago and one from New York. Our kid is 15, your parents are 100. How many apples do I have in my pocket? I'm sorry, I should probably move on, but all I want to do is talk about the stupid fights that Jessica picks with Mark. There's another one where Jessica, who is shockingly too drunk, says that Giannina is the best person, and then Mark, in a very cute way, is like, "Aw, she's a close second," implying to you, Jessica, who is the best person.
That was kind of a compliment.
And then Jessica takes a huge offense
You don't say somebody's a close second.
and starts shitting all over Mark.
You're a close second.
Babe.
How's that? I think Barnett is fucking sexy and like hot and like.
Actually, you're close second, bitch. So if you can imagine, that doesn't sit well with Mark. But he handles it well because he's a saint. Poor Mark.
Baby.
Baby. Finally, it's time to meet the parents, which is hilarious because they're like, "You got engaged after a week? The hell is wrong with you?" We meet Barnett's family, who Amber scares.
My parents, they seemed a little uncomfortable. Maybe shell-shocked is a good word for it.
And Barnett's brother hates marriage so much it seems like a personal problem.
Marriage is the hardest thing I have ever done in my life.
But what I'm trying to say is that you start out in a lust mode. You have a spark, but after 10 years of marriage, things get real.
What are you gonna do after 10 years when things get real? Because that is when marriage gets hard. And that is when you hate your wife. And that is when she nags you about taking out the garbage. And you're like, "Bitch, I will take out the garbage after the game." And she was like, "The game was supposed to end an hour ago." And I said, "I know, but it went into overtime." And then she goes outside and she dents her F-150. What are you gonna do then? All right, who else has family stuff worth mentioning? Mark's friends are like, "Don't get married, man. What are you doing?"
I don't think you've put much thought into any of it.
And after a season of complaining about Mark's age and how the world is gonna view them, Jessica talks to her friends about dating a guy who's 24, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's fine."
It really doesn't mean anything.
They didn't even blink.
You mean this whole time I was making a problem out of nothing? Barnett and Jessica meet up again to clear the air because Barnett thinks that Jessica may still have feelings for him. I can't imagine why.
Barnett's definitely an attractive guy. This is someone that I created a bond with that will never be matched by any other bond.
Oh, hi, Mark.
You know what they say, love is blind.
Then they have bachelor and bachelorette parties where Amber gets real drunk.
I'm also really drunk.
And threatens to punch Jessica in the fucking face if she goes after a man.
If you were to ever actively go after my husband, I would destroy your life.
And then it's time for weddings, which are kind of boring, actually. I'm pretty sure they forced them to have a wedding even if they weren't planning to get married, you know, because suspense. And so they do this whole rigmarole where they bring out the friends and family and they pick out a wedding dress and they hire an officiant to do some Love is Blind producer approved officiating.
Now is the time to decide if love is truly blind.
It's cute when it works, I guess, but otherwise it's just weird. Giannina and Damien, for example, had a season of weird fights and like an on and off again relationship where it doesn't seem like they're on the same page at all. And after Giannina says I do, Damien looks like he's about to vomit, and he says, I don't.
I do not.
And then lays into Giannina for the kind of partner she's been throughout this process, which seems very inappropriate in front of friends and family. This is not a conversation to have in public. And then after Giannina slips and slides her way both ways down Peachtree Street, she makes her way back to Damien and like poetically rips up her wedding dress and ties it into a bow to call back to Damien's weird-ass proposal. I am your gift! They're too dramatic. But in the reunion, they're back together, so what the fuck do I know? Kelly and Kenny don't get married. I'm only mentioning them so that I had 3 things in this list. I'm sorry, they're just so boring. Finally, we have Mark and Jessica. They don't get married. Duh. But Mark says I do, because poor Mark. And Jessica smiles before she turns him down? Like, what sort of sick shit is this? And I guess that's the show. They have a reunion. And the reunion's budget was $1. And the reunion takes place a year and a half after the show because I guess Netflix has been sitting on the show since 2018. Those bastards. In that time, Amber dyed her hair blonde to be closer to Jessica, and they moved because their house was haunted.
Our house was haunted, y'all. Not a fan.
Our house was haunted, y'all. In that time, Jessica took a hard look in the mirror and realized that she may have had a touch too much to drink on the show. Jessica has read our comments and wants us to know that yes, Mark is attractive, just not to her. And she never lied.
I was always honest.
Except for to Mark.
I get a lot of hate for that.
You may have thought that after a drunken bachelorette party, Amber and Jessica had squashed their beef about Barnett. But in the reunion, we see that over the past year and a half, her rage has aged like a fine wine.
You're shiesty. You're so fake.
In the end, when asked if love can truly be blind, everyone raises their hand, presumably to maintain a good relationship with the producers. And that's the show. Oh, and Lauren tries to make the term fur baby a thing.
He got me a puppy. We have a fur baby.
No. Thanks to Despina from Greece, that's fun, for sending me a message on Instagram. I have no idea if I'm saying that right. If you want me to butcher your name, yeah, do the stuff on the internet. You know where it is. It's in the closet, you never check.